I'm not doing a joke today. With this opportunity, we're going to break it down first. Can you help me with that, please?
Yep.
Come on, let's go. Get in here. Come on. Okay, so here's how I'm going to work this thing. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes of what us academians talk about leadership theory. And then we're going to talk about stuff that you should be able to apply directly to your practice here, on the team, and throughout your life. Is that a fair deal?
Yes, sir.
So first 5 minutes are a little dry. You got to work with me. Okay? I've been studying and practicing leadership for about 20 years. So I would qualify myself maybe halfway between a beginner and a novice. I mean, this is hard stuff, right? It's hard enough to lead oneself, let alone get other folks to get out there and do stuff that you want them to do that they may or may not want to do, right? Okay, so the way that I conceptualize leadership is the 5 W's plus how. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who does leadership? Anybody? Where does it begin? With you. Exactly. Self leads self. Individuals run their program. You got goals. You got a vision for your life. You make a plan every day. Is that not leadership, Sebastian? I knew we weren't going to have a problem. I knew we weren't. I liked you from the start. Right. Self leads self. Who else leads? Who else does leadership? Where's the captains of the team? Captains lead the team, right? Folks lead teams. Folks lead groups. We call that direct level leadership, where you are in charge of individuals and you have direct contact with them to get stuff done. And then lastly, there's organizational leadership. Okay, so take for example Dr. Becker, the president of this fine institution. He is an organizational leader because he has lots of subordinate activities under him. He's got the College of Law, he's got the College of Nursing, he's got Arts and Sciences, he's got the football team. You with me? He doesn't have time to directly manage all that stuff, does he? So he sets policy. He gives people guidance. Subordinate leaders who are direct leaders. He leads the organization. Direct leaders lead the subordinate elements. Individuals lead themselves. Easy enough? That's who does leadership. What is self-evident? We lead. Where? Where do we lead? Where's Coach wants you to lead? On a team, right? How about school? Do you lead at school? Do you play in your game? How about at church? Are you a leader there? Any civic groups? Within your relationships, right? I am one of the 2 leaders in my marriage. You with me? So where leadership happens is in every aspect of your life. When does leadership happen? When does leadership happen? Wild man.
Every day.
Every day. For how long? It's a lifelong endeavor, is it not? It's a lifelong endeavor. This is something that you will continue to do well or do poorly for the rest of your life. It spans every discipline, every domain, every aspect of your life. So leadership is important. We need to pay more attention to it. There are also times when you will need to be a leader for a specific period of time. For example, if you're in class and your instructor assigns you as project leader for a project, that project has a start and finish time, yeah? The duties of you as the project leader, that leadership has a finite start and finish time. So yes, we're going to lead throughout our life, but we also have opportunities for defined periods of leadership throughout our life, such as on this team, such as the assignment I'm in. It's about 2 years long, right? Before I was here, I wasn't in charge of nothing. When I leave, I'm not going to be in charge of nothing, but right now, I'm the guy. Oh. So we covered who, what, where, when. Why do we do leadership? Why are we worried about this stuff? What is the output of leadership? What is the outcome of good leadership?
Success.
Come on, tell me. Success. Okay. How about stuff gets done? Our goals, our plans get executed successfully. We deliver the goods, right? So that's the who, what, where, when, why. Now let's talk about how. How? Okay, I got it, Brooks. I like it. I'm sold. We need to know more about leadership. So do you just go out and do it? Or do we break it down and study it systemically? How do we study it systemically? Well, the answer is leadership models. And this is kind of that academic theory stuff. Watch out. Some of those big brain folks will come at you and put you to sleep. But there are different ways we can talk about leadership. There are different types of leadership models. Okay? For example, there are models that talk about what successful leaders do. They are skills-based models. Okay? Leaders plan. Leaders understand the situation. Leaders procure and manage resources. Skills-based. What do I do? What actions do I conduct that emulate good leadership? There are characteristic-based leadership models. What does a good leader look like? What qualities does a good leader possess? You with me? So we can talk about who leaders are characteristically. We can talk about what leaders do. Actions, skills-based. We can talk about relationships of people in a leadership context. For example, there is one leadership theory called psychodynamic, which means groups act like families. There's a dad, there's a mom, there's a little red-headed stepbrother, etc. Right? Talking through some others, there are leadership techniques or leadership models that help us understand how to communicate. You know, there are 3 in this book. This is one of my favorite books. Army Field Manual 6-22. Army Leadership, Competent, Confident, Agile. There's 3 leadership models in here that I like very much. One of them is called the Troop Leading Procedures. It talks about how to lead. Receive the mission, issue a warning order, make a tentative plan, start necessary movement, reconnoiter, complete your plan, issue your completed plan, execute and supervise. Pretty easy, right? Pretty easy. Like 8 steps on how to get stuff done. There's another one in here that talks about how to communicate your direction to people using something called the 5-paragraph operations order. First you describe the situation to them. Then you describe the mission. Then you describe how we're going to execute. Then you describe where our resources are coming from. Then you talk about who's in charge and how we're going to talk. Time tested. Right? The military has worked a long time to develop those 2 tools, the troop leading procedures and the operations order. That works real well in our game, on our field. Okay? There's another one over here that may be applicable to you. It's a model that talks about influencing techniques. Influencing techniques. There are basically 2. There are commitment-based influencing techniques, and there are compliance-based influencing techniques. Okay? So over at ROTC, I'm the senior ranking guy. I'm the boss by virtue of the fact that I got the rank and I'm in the position. Do I have to ask anybody to do stuff for me? No. I can walk around and say, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, we're going to make this happen because I'm in charge. Right? That's compliance-based. That doesn't go so well. Folks, adults, grown men and women, don't like to be told what to do. Instead, I prefer to use commitment-based influencing techniques. Hey, here's what we got. Here's what I'm thinking. Have you seen this before? What do you think we should do? Okay, we talk about it. I get your input. We all come to a decision together. I make the decision because I'm in charge, and we go out and execute. And because they had input in it, they own it. Collaboration. Teamwork. Respect. See what I'm saying? So there's some pretty good leadership models developed by the Army. So that's enough theory. The 5 W's and how. How being leadership models. Okay? The most applicable for today, in my opinion, is to talk about characteristic leadership qualities. What qualities are going to make a good leader on this team? And I thought about it, and I wrote a couple down, and I'd like to offer them for your consideration. Before I do that, anybody got any questions? Anybody got any comments? Where you at? Where you at? Bananas, our little snacky, chewy bars. Get a little tired? That's all right. That was boring stuff. Let's talk a little bit about characteristics of leaders on the team. First and foremost, I think to be on the team, you've got to be a person of vision. You've got to be a person of vision. Think about what's going on here. This is a relatively new program, yeah? At a large state university that's continuing to grow. I mean, there are 35,000 people here. They're buying skyscrapers downtown like it's, you know, like it's chump change. They just took over Georgia Perimeter College, right? Dr. Becker has a vision for the future. Grow the university by size. Develop the university's research plan. Develop the university's athletics program. Because if you're in the Southeast, you got to have a football team, right? So where is this organization going to be in 20 years? Think about this. It's going to be in Auburn. It's going to be a UGA. I don't know, SEC, ACC. Georgia State is going to be a football team to deal with, right? You guys are the trailblazers. Think about that vision. Does that not draw you forward? Does that not motivate you to get out of bed and do the work? It motivates me. That's very exciting. And it's tough. It's difficult, right? Creating something is always easier than repeating it. Yeah? So for you pioneers, for you trailblazers, I mean, I salute you. This is difficult stuff. Vision is one of our characteristics that may be applicable for leaders on our team. How about consistency? Consistency. If I play great this game, if I play bad the next game, can coach depend on me? If I do great in my job with one cadet and turn that one cadet into a good lieutenant, but I do a poor job with this cadet, and that cadet turns into a bad lieutenant, how well does our Army do? It suffers. In my job, if I do good every day, if I do good on every task, if I do good on every project that my boss gives me, if I do good on every cadet, every time he calls, I got an answer. Every time he sends an email, he gets a good response. Every time there's a task, I'm complete, ahead of schedule, above expectations. All of a sudden, success, 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 success. Those individual blips of success turn into a trend line of excellence. And that man knows when it's time to get the goods delivered, when he's got a clutch mission, he can call on Brooks and his team. And we will make it happen. Look at that record of success. Consistency. Day in and day out. I do the right things. I do them to the best of my ability. I do them every time. And that allows us as individuals and as special teams and as organizations to become dependable. And dependability is highly desirable. How about a sense of urgency? How about a sense of urgency? Are we in a hurry? Are we in a hurry? You guys want to be a great football team, like, I don't know, maybe by my senior year? Today. I want to be awesome today. I want those tasks done today. I want the future to be realized today. I don't have time to wait. Why? Why? Yeah, come on. Say again? It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. And the clock is ticking. And the clock is ticking. And I'll probably die at about 85 years old. right? The last 15 years of my life, I'll be wearing black socks and plaid shorts down in Florida, bitching about the heat or the cold, trying to get the Sizzler for the 4 p.m. early bird special. You with me? It's going to be great. But the last 15 years of my life, I'm not going to make much of a difference. And the first couple of years of my life, I was a dumb kid. I got about 60 good years. Who said that? That's right, Jimmy Buffett. 24 hours, maybe 60 good years. It's really not that long of a stay. The clock is ticking. Now I got to make my mark. Let's go. How about an unfailingly positive attitude? In a survival situation, what is the #1 determinant of whether people live or die? How much water they got? No. Whether or not they have a flame-producing device? No. Whether or not they're hurt? No. Whether or not it's hot or cold? No. It's attitude. I'm going to live. There's no doubt in my mind. Things are going to be okay. I'm seeing the positive in the situation. Yeah, we're in a survival situation, but at least we got these things going for us. That attitude, that unfailing positive attitude. And that kind of speaks to heart and courage, right? Head up, good or bad. Now what was it, last year? The University of Alabama won the national championship. Is that right? How many folks you see walking around with Alabama shit on? You with me? Fair weather fans. It's easy to be a winner when you're winning. It's easy to hold your head up and go, yeah, we're the best. But to paraphrase Dr. Martin Luther King, the true character of a person is revealed during times of controversy. Can you be a winner when the chips are down? When the conditions are less than ideal? That is leadership. Head up, being the example. Yeah, things aren't ideal. Yeah, things are going awry. Yeah, we're not in the best shape we could be. But guess what? We're going to make it happen. Those folks are leaders. Those folks are winners. How about humility? Everybody that's perfect in the room, raise your hand. We don't have that one guy on the team that's like, I'm perfect. No? Okay. I'm not either. The vast majority of my learning in the past, and yesterday, and today, is by making mistakes. Making mistakes is the most efficient form of learning. So if we see making mistakes as a bad thing, how much less learning are we going to do? I embrace mistakes. Thomas Edison once said, I did not fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways that it didn't work. Right? Quite a different perspective on the same issue. Humility. Embrace your mistakes. Learn from them. Listen to others. Accept their criticism. When you make a mistake that's funny and people laugh at you, laugh with them. Because it was probably funny. And hopefully someone got it on their little smartphone and Snapchatted it or uploaded it to YouTube or what have you, all you young whippersnappers on Facebook. Laugh at yourself. And then when someone else does something stupid, laugh at them. They should be humble too. Humility. Learn from your mistakes. Accept that criticism. Another characteristic that I think would be a good thing here, and I already talked a little bit about it, heart, courage. I talked about it being easy to win, to be a winner when you're winning, and it's difficult to be a winner when the chips are down, but that's where true character is revealed. But what about courage? Are we scared of failing? Are we scared of the task? You're not. You're not?
No.
Yeah. How about the task? 4 years, college degree? I don't know if I can handle 4 years. Right? You don't know?
No, I can handle 4 years.
You know you can? Well, a lot of people don't. And a lot of people look at 4 years and they say, I don't know if I can do that. And they psych themselves out. Now, some of us say, yeah, 4 years, whatever, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me focus on 1 one semester. And not even one semester. Let me focus on one test or one paper. Right? I eat the elephant one bite at a time. That's one way to develop courage on these big tasks. Not being afraid of failure. Not being afraid to start. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with that first step. Starts with that first step. So courage and heart. How about pride and accountability? Right? Who are you going to be? This life is not a rehearsal. Who are you going to be? When you're 80 years old and you're telling your grandchildren about your life, what are you going to be able to say? When they're putting you in the ground and they're reading your eulogy, what are they going to say about you? What kind of man were you? What kind of good did you do? Or what kind of bad did you do? What's our lifelong goal? Who am I going to be? What's my 5-year plan? How am I going to move to that person that I want to be? What do the next 5 years of my life look like? To get that 5-year plan accomplished, what does the next year of my life look like? To get that 1-year plan accomplished, what are my 6-month goals? And to accomplish those 6-month goals, what did I do today? Today, with that sense of urgency. What did I do today? Every day, they're keeping score. And if they're not, I am. Today. So I think pride and accountability. How about determination? How about resolve? How about commitment? Y'all know something about that, don't you? I want to share a story with you. I like this guy. It's a book called The Rock Expeditions, written by a Norwegian anthropologist named Thor Heyerdahl. Pretty cool name, Thor, right? Heyerdahl. So Thor Heyerdahl is over in Egypt, and he's hanging out, and as anthropologists do, he's staring at the Egyptians and watching what they do. And some of the Egyptians, they grow these reeds, right? And they harvest the reeds, and then they take the reeds and they tie them together using a special knot, and they make these reed boats. And they go out on these lakes and they do stuff. They fish, they gather, I don't know, whatever they do. Okay? And Thor is strolling around and he sees the pyramids and he sees the hieroglyphs and all this sort of stuff. So then Thor is somewhere else in the world, over in South America, at a place called Lake Titicaca. I didn't make that name up, I promise. And guess what he sees? He sees folks growing the same reeds. He sees them harvest. He sees them tie the same knots, build reed boats, sail them out on the lake. He looks around. Some of the hieroglyphs look similar. Hang on a second. Reeds, reeds, knots, knots, boats, boats, hieroglyphs, hieroglyphs. Hey, check this out. Maybe the Egyptians made a reed boat that sailed across the Atlantic Ocean and influenced the folks in South America. So he floated this theory to the anthropological community at the time. What did they say? What did they say? You're crazy. Heyerdahl, Egyptians made a boat out of reeds and sailed it across the Atlantic Ocean? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So what did Thor do? What did Thor do? He built a boat out of all the Egyptian stuff, and he only used tools that they would have had back then. And they only took stuff with them on the boat that they would have had back then. And what happened? No. He got halfway across the Atlantic, and the boat started to sink in shark-infested waters, and they had to be rescued. And how did the anthropological community respond to that? Heyerdahl, you are a jackass. Right? And what did Heyerdahl do? Did he go into seclusion? Huh? He built another boat. He built another boat. And he sailed again. And what happened this time? He didn't sink. No. The other one. He made it to South America in a reed boat using tools and equipment and methods that were only available back then. Now think about this for a second. As he is being rescued in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean off the sinking boat, how did he feel? Was there defeat there? Was there heartache there? Was there frustration? I doubt it. I bet you there wasn't. I'll bet you there was commitment. I'll bet you there was resolve. I'll bet you there was determination. As he was rescued, I'll bet you he was planning the next boat. So I think those are some good characteristics, and I think Mr. Heyerdahl can inform us on those. And then finally, really the one that ultimately matters. Leaders get results. Leaders deliver the goods. Either you get it done or you don't. Getting results is of prime importance. Therefore, we must pursue this with fanatical resolve. And at the expense of self-well-being, if required. When the Army gives me a mission, I will break before I fail. I will break my team before I fail. We're going to get it done. Right? So that's kind of some of the characteristics that I thought about when I thought about what leadership on a football team would look like. Are you displaying those characteristics for your teammates to follow? Are you displaying those characteristics for your coaches to see so they can place faith and trust and confidence on you? What other characteristics do we need to have on a football team to be good leaders? Anyone? Well, then consider mine. And if you like what I said, feel free to incorporate them into your program. What did I miss?
What is the definition of leadership? Where the captains at? Team captains. In your words, what do you think it is? Come back to
I guess someone gets it done.
What about you? Who else was in others?
Same thing,
Get it done. Who else? What do you got? Okay. Leadership is the ability to influence others to accomplish the mission by providing purpose, direction, and motivation. In your case, it's the task. Right? The task. How many of you get an attitude when Coach tells you to do something? You don't like what he said. There's plenty of stuff that comes out of my boss's mouth that I don't like. But I am results oriented. And that is a guarantee I'm going to get what he needs. So go back to figure out why you're even on the team. Together, we are a team. We accomplished the mission of running that program at Georgia State University. Together. Yes, the known is he's the guy in charge. And I'm sort of the enforcer guy and kind of gives him the advice that he needs. But at the end of the day, we're going to get results. And that's a fact. So you figure out why you're doing the things that you're doing right now. How are you going to influence the folks on your team? Offense, defense, and special teams and all that. You got to figure it out. And not just the title. Guess what? We have folks in the Army that just wear a title. They just wear it. Team leaders, squad leaders, commanders, first sergeants, they just wear it. But they don't believe in their commitment. They don't believe in their resolve. Do you believe going out and playing those teams in another state? On bringing it home right here? Do you believe that? I know I do. Why even suit up? Why do I even get in this uniform? I believe in my mission. And that's a fact. It ain't no show. Anywhere I go, it's the same thing. You better believe it. So how many of you just come here for a scholarship? Or the rep for being on a team? Any of those folks in here? Now, the other thing is, how many of you do activities outside of the program together as a team? Special teams, defense, offense. What do? Party, go down on the Edgewood, what? Hookah lounge, what is it? How many of you all do activities outside of the program? Party, whatever.
Like medical.
Okay. Do you talk about football?
Yeah.
All the time, right? This is where you connect. This is where you can make some money. Team captains, right? You got something in common. Yeah, it's a little bit of psychology in there. You got to get out of the office, that brown room, that project brown. Anybody from up north? Who from up north? Where you from? New York, where? New York? Long Island. Go figure, right? New Jersey. North. Who else from up north? What you got? Ohio. Ohio. That ain't up north, man. You know what I'm talking about. I got you. Ohio. I got you, brother.
This is one of those times when we should be laughing at ourselves.
You got me, though. I've been all over this army. And each place that I went is something different. Especially this current assignment. I'm at the end of it. It's going to be better than what I got. Guaranteed. And it's all the way to the finish line. The finish line for me is probably July. So I'm constantly thinking on how I can improve, in this case, the fight position that I'm in. We are probably the biggest critical people of ourselves, if you're that type of leader. How can we make it better? How can we do training? Do we need to go back out to the hookah lounge? All of that. Who does the hookah? Tag the cadets with that all the time. They hang out at the dang hookah lounge. But you got to find that. If it's Xbox, then you get your teammates together. How come you, the special teams and all these other teams aren't sitting together right now? How come? Think together, you breathe together, you work together. That's where it starts. Your commitment. You got me, brother? Where you from? Georgia. What part of Georgia? Cartersville? Right on. Cool. So let's get another up north guy. New York, New Jersey, maybe I ought to say that. PA, Ohio. Where you got, brother? Toronto. That is up north. What about you in the back, brother?
Jersey.
Jersey, where?
Mawa.
What's that?
Mawa.
Mawa? Right on. Cool. So it's right outside of Jersey City, New York. You live right there by the pier or something?
Yep.
Right on. Cool. First time I had a party in a boat was in Mawa. Good time, too. Y'all got any questions? Anybody? So this should be a two-way conversation, right? Because it's about you. Right? It's about you. You just wait and get out and get some chow, right? Huh? You headed to the beach out? Down in the facility? What you gonna get? Oh, you gonna whip something up? Oh. So you can cook some boiled water? Oh man, come on, don't take that back, you alright? Give some love right quick. Alright. Any questions, y'all? I got about 19 years of service in the Army. And I'm going to continue to do some more, because I have something to give back. Who?
Brother.
What you got? I'm like Robert, infantry. But I've been in all branches, all types of platforms. So I've been in air assault, airborne, small units, all that.
If you don't mind, I would like to hear the craziest story that you have.
Craziest story? The craziest.
The most memorable. Let's say that.
Most memorable?
Yeah. Or you can go out both of
Well, I'm going to give it to you right quick. It is work related though. one of our troopers came back on leave late. Now, you can get punished for not arriving back on time, not calling anybody ahead of time or whatever. What you want to hear is reason for being late. So we're about to read this guy his punishment. So what's the deal, guy? Why are you late? So he's having sex in the bathroom at the airport. He's arrested. You would never hear this story anywhere else, I promise you. I've never heard no nonsense like that. Got arrested at the damn airport. Having sex in the girl, cars towed, you name it. Everything went downhill. And it was true. So he's saying that in the office between me and the commander. And the first time I ever cracked a smile and started laughing, and because this stuff was pretty serious. And I laughed, and said, just get out of the office. Just get out. That was probably the craziest of everything. Now the other stuff is a little explicit, I ain't gonna give you that. You meet me one-on-one in the hole and I'll give it to you. What else?
Kill somebody?
Huh?
You kill somebody before?
Did I kill somebody? That's always the question.
That's what everybody wanted to ask. That's what everybody wanted to ask you.
What else? What you got, brother?
You only child? You got any siblings?
Did I have what?
You have any siblings, like a brother?
Yes. I'm the youngest of four. Actually 5.
Okay. Do you
I have a brother that's in the Marines, 28, 29 years.
do you feel like controversy make y'all stronger between each other, or
For sure it does.
it does?
For sure it does. In fact, one time, we were down in Fort Bend at the same time, and I was going to B-Knock and he was going to Air Force School. So I went over to see him, and he thought I was him. So it was about to be a rumble right outside there to come here. What you got? You find what makes the trigger. So we talked a little bit about that psychology, right? A little bit. So whatever answer you keep giving them and then giving it right back to you, that does not mean you stop. It does not mean that. You find what's going to give them that trigger. You find it. What else?
Or maybe you follow for a little while. If they don't want to follow, why don't you follow? Let them lead.
The way you lead me right, what do you do right?
So check this out. When that opportunity presents itself and offers ideas on how to do business, that's when you come up on board. Come up online and say, hey, it's an open forum, right? And the way that you do it, hey, what do you think about this? But if you're that guy all the time, that's not going to work. You got me? So there's a lot of things you're going to disagree with the guys who are in charge.
And a criticism is much better received immediately after a compliment. Hey, John, man, I tell you what, I really like the way that you're doing this. That's good stuff. But hey, I had a question. Have you ever thought about a different way to make this happen? All of a sudden, you're not saying you're doing this wrong. You need to change the way you behave. Right? How we say things matters. Sometimes folks don't want to follow them. Sometimes they don't want to follow. Be the example. Pretty soon you'll look behind you and you got ducks in a row.
And that's a fact. The example. Some of that stuff doesn't even have to be said. The example. What you got, brother?
Why did you want to get into the Army?
I wanted to figure out what my niche was. Because I had all these different jobs. I was in college like you were. Jersey City State and Rutgers. It's 2 different colleges. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I worked in the hotel, worked at UPS, worked in the clothing store. I had 3 jobs at one time. And I said, you know what? I was really good at it too. Really good at it. I made more money in tips than I did an hourly wage. But that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I said, let me try this Army stuff. Was going to be the Marines. They said, you know, we're not going to give you a bonus. So I didn't join the Marines because of that. I was trying to follow my brother because he was a Marine. I see this guy coming home in this uniform. He's like, man, I'm just like him. And so I joined the Army because they offered me a bonus. Here I am, almost 20 years later. And not one regret because the scenery changes every 3 years. 3 years is about to be up with he and I. And this is probably the best tool. We get to see some of that stuff that you put people's mind work. You got me, see guys? You get to see it. You get to see it. You get to see them execute it. So if you're not believing what you're telling people, they are not going to believe it. They're not going to receive it. None of that. Go step ahead. What you got?
You guys plan on coming to the game, right?
Sure. We're at your game last time, right? I didn't see you. We were there.
Living large up in the president.
And now, that's the standard for me. Going to the box. I'm like those, go way up the stairs and get the beer. I'm like, really? Right up there in the box with the president. It's like, hey, that $5,000 a season, probably had to do that pretty good. What else? What you got, brother?
There are times we ever thought about quitting if you did.
My goals. Sure, there was plenty of them. And I had to change that picture. But I had some influencers in my life. Those guys that I looked up to growing up in the Army. Looked at them, this is who I wanted to be. Right? But I figured I had to make a plan. Goals, and I start prioritizing. Like the first set of ones, I didn't have that until I re-enlisted. I said, hey, I want to be starting first class in 7 years. I went to the Ranger School, wanted to compete in British Ranger competition, and I'm going to go to 82nd Airborne. I want to be a paratrooper. But I did all of that stuff in 6 years. So I had to come up with some more. Master Sergeant in 12, so on and so forth. You're in charge of that. You're in charge of it.
So having a plan that you can stick to when you hit a speed bump. And you also need to know that everybody feels self-doubt. I feel it. He feels it. Everyone in this room feels it. We're not sure about ourselves 100% of the time. You know what you need to do with self-doubt? Cast it out. It's toxic. It's got no place in my program. When I feel it creeping in, that's when I reach out to my network. That's when you reach out to your teammates and say, you know what, I'm struggling today. Somebody's not having a self-doubt day. They grab you, they pick you up. Teamwork, leadership, communication. Are these not the things we've been talking about?
You ever heard your mom or pops tell you about idle time is the devil's playground? You ever heard them tell you that? Anybody ever heard that? You're tired of listening to it, right? But it's the truth. When you look at it, you put things in perspective. It is the truth. You start doing all kinds of nonsense. You wake up the next day, why did I do that? Wake up in jail or some nonsense. Telling you, you're in charge of it. You're in charge of that. Who else? What you got, bro?
Alright, so when you go, like, for us last year, we going through the season, and I feel like we lost hindsight of what our ultimate vision was. So how do you...
Who reinvigorates that, though? Is it only up to the captains or the coaches? You can be that guy. You can become that leader in that squad or that team. Hey, guys, let's do it. Now, let's all be gloomy. That's exactly what you'll be. If you don't believe that you can go out there and execute that mission flawlessly, you won't do it. And that's a guarantee. Now, in the same time, in the same breath, if you go out and execute flawlessly, we do what we call after actions reports, right? That's what we do in the Army. Now, there's plenty of missions I did flawlessly. What else can I fix? We look at ourselves and we talk to the men. In this case, men and women now, right? Rolling up formation. Talk to the men. What can we do to do better? To perform better? And you open it up to the floor. Roger?
So you're talking about what captains should be doing to their team.
Yes, sir.
Talking to them, asking about how can we get better.
Okay. So I say whoa, you respond with a whoa, or if I'm going to ask you a direct question. So he was saying whoa the majority of his speech, right? Y'all were like, what is he saying? So that's the answer to every question. Who? Roger, anything else?
I want to say one more thing about this. Maybe it has to do with defining the goals. Is the goals to win, is the goal to win football games?
Absolutely.
No, that's the outcome. Maybe, I'm just offering, maybe the outcome is games get won. Maybe the goal is, I do my best as an individual, we do our best as a team, we train consistently, we leave nothing on the field, we execute our plays to standard, and the output is that games get won. I don't know, I'm just offering that for your suggestion, right? You know, we had an Army ROTC competition where a team of ours, of 11 people, go out and they do like a 25-mile road march with backpacks running around, and there's stations along the way, military-related stuff, and they stop and do that. And we had 2 teams this year, and there were 52 teams in our brigade, our higher headquarters that were competing. And some of these places have unlimited resources. And here we are in downtown Atlanta. How can I get 25 miles of training out here on the sidewalk? I mean, you go to Hurt Park and we're fighting off the crazies, right? So, you know, one of the things that we knew going into that competition is we weren't going to win. So when I stood in front of the teams, I said, winning, if that happens, that's just more evidence that you're doing what you said you were going to do. Do your best, start as a team, work as a team, finish as a team. Complete the course, don't fall out. If you do that, the output will be what the output will be. So they had a benchmark of success that they could go achieve and feel good about that wasn't tied to whether or not they finished in the top 3 or not. You know, now, do I want to win? Absolutely. F yeah. But maybe it's not our time yet. Maybe we're still growing. Maybe we're still developing. Maybe we've got that long-term vision. In 10 years, there's not going to be 90 people in our Army ROTC program here at Georgia State. There's going to be 180. We're going to have some training space somewhere around here where we can go and practice that stuff and get better. You know? Rome wasn't built today.
Have you ever had that moment whereas you might be doing good as collectively or something, then you have that setback? How do you bounce back from that setback?
Exactly how I explained it. Depending on what circumstances are that surround exactly that setback, but if we go out and we didn't perform the way that we needed to, we're going to go back and figure out what happened. How can I make it not happen again? But to ensure that it doesn't occur to begin with, you rehearse. That's why I asked you guys, did you do anything outside of just coming to practice? Play Xbox and all that stuff, but you should be talking about your plays. Learning one another. That has everything to do with it. Guess what? In the Army, that has to occur too. I had to figure out who he was. Like it's going to be some kooky guy coming in here. I didn't know. So I had to sit back and watch him and figure out what do I need to do. But I rehearsed it. Just like before you go out on a mission, you rehearse and rehearse again.
And we sat down at a lot of lunches, and the first couple were quiet as we ate our food, and the next couple we started talking about work, and the next couple we started having real discussion about work and maybe some disagreements and some negotiations, and then all of a sudden, you know, I know about his family, I know about his personal life, he knows about mine, and all of a sudden he comes over to my house for dinner. We go out and hang out sometimes and socialize. That's how it works. Are you guys eating together? I mean, something you said is very powerful that you can implement today. Team captains, right? Hey, I'm here. My team over here, right? Where's the offense? Where's the defense? Where's the special teams? If he's sitting down in a room, I'm going to sit down next to him 10 times out of 10. And if I'm the first one in the room, 10 times out of 10, he will come sit next to me. And the rest of the gang, when they come on in, where are they going to sit? Scattered across the room? I'll beat them silly. No, they'll come sit with us because we're a team. No daylight. No daylight. That's something you guys can implement today. But why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? Where's the offense? Raise your hand, come up. Up here. Defense, right here. Special teams in the back. Do it, let's go. Come on.
Well, just offense and defense.
Oh, it's already done. They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn.
Cool.
Who else? What do you share from the defense to the offense? Or vice versa? Before, after, during the game? What do you share? Do you even talk? Do you? It needs to occur. So when you watch the film, the playback, how do you watch it? Do you watch it as a team with the coaches? Do you watch it special teams? How do you watch it? Is it just with the coaches? Should it be on your time? You have a little bit more time to know on that thing. That's a guarantee. I replay stuff in my mind every day on how we can execute the smallest of tasks better than what they are. You can employ that too. That's a fact. Yeah?
We talk about it before we do it. We talk about it while we're doing it. We talk about it immediately after it's done. And for me, I do a lot of thinking while I sleep. So I wake up and I got fresh ideas. The next day I'll come back in and we'll talk about it again. And then we'll probably talk about it the next time we do it.
So the one thing that he talked about, and this will be the last thing, right? The folks that are in charge, the team captains, how do you think folks can gain ownership of what you want? You should be open to their ideas. They will own that thing like it's their car. That's a fact. You listen, they'll go out there and execute flawlessly. You add value to what they told you, guaranteed. Now, the guy that I work for prior to him would not listen to anything. He would go out and execute, and it'd be really screwed up. I want to say another word, but I'm not. So he opened the forum to everybody that worked in our program. Everybody. The known is he's in charge. And I'm the guy that advises him, but I sit back and offer those ideas as well to help him arrive at those decisions. How easy for us, or for you, to make a quick judgment. You're screwed up. Ain't gonna depend on you anymore. But if you're the guy all the time, who becomes the common denominator? You become that person that says everything is screwed up all the time. The line of blame should stop at you. I know it. And make sure it doesn't occur the next door. No? That's all I have, y'all.
We got like 5 minutes, so we got to get out of here. Hey, we appreciate your time today. Hopefully, we added something of value. And if you got contact info, Master? So you got it?
Yeah, I can just send it.
Okay. If you guys want to talk more, give us a call. You know, if you want to know more about what we did, give us a call. We'll be happy to help.
You're welcome to come by the department, too. What's up?
I can finish this thing up. Do you happen to have one of them, another one of them books, leadership books, that you can lend out?
I'm actually moving soon, but I can show you where to get them. Y'all know about this website? It's really cool. Amazon.com. I bought this book for $1 penny, $3.99 shipping. Come see me, I'll give you the info on it. What else?
So do you think one
That's not the right book, sir. He's
one
talking about
book
the other
on
book.
leadership is going to help you with all you need? No, collectively. Whatever you see along your tour is going to help you be who you need to be if you're in that role. If you don't want to be a leader, you won't be doing leader things. You won't be in charge. You're not going to want to be in charge. That's a fact. Be the sponge.